Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm DJ Sixsmith. You're watching The Sit Down. Look who's back. It's the man, Cedric the Entertainer.
What's up, brother?
What's
going
happening?
on, man? All is good.
Yeah, how's everything? Feeling good?
Yeah, everything is good. We're getting excited about to be, new season of CBS comedy. Can't be mad about that.
No, you definitely can't be. You were here last year, and you were telling me all about this, and now here we are, season 2. Like, that's a great thing. It's hard to have something stick in TV, and you made it happen.
So true, man. I mean, especially, because CBS always had these big comedy. You look at Big Bang and, and Two and a Half, and, it's like, all right, this is a fight for, some legacy sometimes. So, Mom, shows that are really successful. So, it was really great to be able to have a show that caught some legs. And, each year was fun last year because we kept getting these, these little milestones. Like they come in and go, hey, guys, you want to do the back 9? We like, cool, yeah, no doubt, let's do that.
Yeah.
Then, like before we were done, they said, y'all want to do season 2? We was like, yeah.
Like, hell yeah, we're going to do season 2.
So it's been really good, man. We've been having a lot of fun. Great cast.
Why do you think this show has been successful so far?
I think it kind of fits in with the time that we're living in, where it's a lot of this space where people are being kind of polarized and set against each other. The show, the backdrop is about gentrification, mm-hmm. So it's this idea that a white family moves into a black neighborhood, and it's that coming to know each other, that the hard aspects of not necessarily feeling comfortable with someone outside of your core group. And then if you get to know them, if you get to live together, you get to bit by bit, you start to understand we got a lot more similarities than we do differences. And so I think that started to resonate with people, and it's one of those things, and we do it in a way that's not preachy. We're there to make you laugh. It is a comedy, and at the same time, we're not afraid of some real touchy subjects, so we'll go for it too.
Yeah, it's refreshing to be able to have some similarities, but also deal with those serious things, because that's real life. You can't just run away from the serious stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's a testament to the way the fabric of the show, the way we kind of like eventually put it together, because the creator, Jim Reynolds, mm-hmm. who is a white guy, this was his truth, so he had written this based off his own life, and then I came in and gave it more of the fabric of what I felt like he was missing from what the black person is actually thinking.
Right.
And so, that combination of the two, we work really well together, and it just leads to really good episodes, and we've been happy with it.
Definitely. So you're the face of this thing, you're the EP as well.
Yeah.
What have you learned about yourself in this chapter of your career?
I mean, I think the real thing is that, when you ask these questions, of course, when you trying to do something where you want to grow and you want to grow an idea, is how do you actually allow other people to influence mm-hmm. you? How do you listen and then learn from a situation when you believe that, especially like, with success, any success, you kind of believe that you already have a formula, and then you have to relearn a formula like for something like this. And, I think, being a successful comedian on many other platforms, coming back to television and then trying to, put out a show that comes on weekly that people can, you go off for the summer. You gotta like, how do I make this a thing that people remember and want to love and want to watch? And so it's that process of learning about yourself on mm-hmm. how you can grow and listen and be creative when the camera's not on you, so to speak.
One of the things you told me last time is that you've been hot at times during your career, the phone hasn't been ringing at times in your career, and here you are today, you're doing a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
So, like, even with Last OG, there's another great role, and like, we were talking off camera, like, you never know when something's gonna hit on TV, and Tracy Morgan and you, that's a great thing going right now.
Yeah, it's so unique, and I think I always tell that to young comedians and everybody is really, with this business, it's almost like stand-up itself. You gotta just be up on the stage. There's no way to get better at it, or no way to just kind of make the audience love you without having this opportunity to be in front of them. And so you never really know what's going to blow. And of course, we've all been a part of things or ideas. You think this is the one. I'm about to be Mark Zuckerberg rich.
And then it's crickets, right?
what happened?
And you're like, where's everybody at?
Yeah, what's up? I thought my Instagram was gonna be blowing up.
Thought it was gonna be popping, right?
No,
you're like, nah, man.
Nah,
sorry,
bro, that was whack. You're like, where? How did that happen? So I mean, and then you know, and I think you definitely learn that. Like here, also you learn that it's so much always room to grow. Like the idea of, especially when you have popularity, you think that everybody knows you for whatever reason. You're like, oh, I'm just known. But then you get on a network like CBS and you realize your audience was a whole group of people who had no idea you existed.
Right.
And it's like, whoa, where did y'all come from? Like, it's like,
yeah, like you're introducing yourself in a different way to a whole new group of people, which is fascinating because you've been in limelight for a long time in your life.
Yeah, almost 30 years.
Yeah.
So it was crazy.
It's been quite a ride for you.
Yeah. It's been good. Like you say, to do it on, movies, stand-up, commercials.
Yeah.
I remember doing that Big Bud Light commercial a
that's
while
right.
back. And that was a whole nother thing because commercials come on every day. And so that idea you're in people's house every day was like a totally different energy from a week.
And those are iconic commercials too. How long did those go on for?
They went for that was like a 6-year run. I did several of them, and it was based. I'm from St. Louis originally, and it's before they got bought out by the big InBevs, whoever they are. But back then it was a very kind of hometown situation, but a big company, so it felt really cool to be a part of that.
Well, speaking of St. Louis, Nelly's a St. Louis guy.
Yeah,
I'm going back in your history. I got the Hot in Here music video, and there you are spinning there.
With the braids. I had some
Dude,
braids.
how did you pull that off?
Of course, Nelly was, just super on fire back then. And, of course, being, a St. Louis icon himself, it was just great to be a part of the video. And so he was like, yo, he actually had shot 2 videos for
That's
Hot
right,
Here.
yeah.
And I was in the first one, and then so when they decided to do this new concept, he was like, you got to be in it. And I think I had maybe a day. I had to come, I was like, dude, I got this one day, like perfect. Like I came in and just did the DJ thing, and that was it.
I mean, that was like hundreds of people just hanging out and dancing. It's like one of the most iconic videos of the 2000s.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And the song's so big, it still rocks. I love when that song comes on in the club and everybody go crazy. Yeah,
you got to go crazy that way.
Yeah.
So how about the Barbershop movies?
Yeah,
because when you think about those, like those have hit. We had Cube here a couple months back. Like he obviously pops through there.
Yeah.
Like, what do you remember about that time in your life?
Again, it was one of those things because Barbershop was it was one of those choices too where I had the opportunity to star in Like Mike or do the Barbershop movie.
Wait, what would you play in Like Mike?
I was gonna be the Eugene Levy character.
Oh wow!
So, yeah.
Okay.
But I chose to be in Barbershop. I thought it was a funner role for me.
Yeah.
One, I wanted to be the old man. Like it was just one of these kind of characters that I knew in the neighborhood that I was like, oh, I just would love to play this older guy. And so it was the movie paid less, but I just bet that was one of them career bets where you go like, look, this is like a lesser movie with not a big studio at the time and all that, but I'm playing my cards over here.
That's insane that Like Mike was going to pay more than what Barbershop became a huge franchise.
Yeah, exactly. So. And so it was that was really fun. And of course, Ice Cube was after the Fridays movies and all that, he was everybody would always, and of course as a iconic rapper, it was always great to be around him. But as a producer of those movies, he was just he was a dude that you like to watch his business moves, and he was very collaborative as a actor on screen, and great cast. And so we've done what 3, 4 of those 3 of them?
Something like that, right? Like that. They keep on coming.
It's not like Fast and Furious, but
yeah, Fast and Furious is a whole different level, right?
On there? We should have got some cars in the barbershop.
I mean, seriously, that would have been pretty dope, right?
Yeah, like the pull-up gang.
Another thing you told me last year was that in addition to being the face of something, you've also done like the whole steal a scene in somebody else's movie.
Yeah.
And so you did First Reformed with Ethan Hawke.
Man.
And that was a different type of role for you. So what do you remember from that experience?
That was again another kind of unique experience because one, Paul Schrader is like kind of this, of course, an iconic director and writer, and he wrote all these kind of really heavy films. And when he called to talk to me about the movie, he basically wanted to know, could I play serious? And I was like, of course, And he was like, I mean, really? Like, no, I don't want you to try to sneak any jokes in. I'm like, I got you. So, and it was really great. I mean, because Ethan is, you know, one of the top actors, you know, of our times or whatever, and so, but he's also this really real person. So, you know, I mean, maybe it's just that New York vibe. But once you're on set with him, he's very like, all right, what is it that you want to accomplish in this scene? And then he'll adjust to you. And I'm like, well, what do you want to do? I'm just
hanging out here.
I'm like, but it was great, you know. And I mean, you know, to be in these great one-on-one scenes with monologues, like back to back, like straight toward each other. It's one of those things that, you know, it stretches you out as an actor. And I thought it was a really great opportunity for me. And I was really glad at the reception that I got in the movie, and that the movie got. You know, a lot of, you know, recognition and critical acclaim, and so that was really good, man. And I was excited to be a part of that. And so hopefully, you know, like so many great comedians, like, you know, the late Robin Williams, and people who were funny comedians, but also went on to do really great dramatic roles. I kind of look for that in the next part of my career space.
Yeah, that could be a whole character actor chapter
exactly.
for you there.
It's like, you know, I mean, you know, God bless him, but Morgan Freeman can't live forever.
You fill in those shoes.
Or can he?
He keeps popping up.
Oh, Andy Dufresne.
I'm watching Brian Banks with Aldous Hodge, and there's Morgan Freeman hanging out right in the movie.
Yeah,
and you're like, he just keeps it running.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy.
He's going.
You know, another guy that was always doing it is Kevin Hart. And,
Yeah, man.
You know, hearing about that accident was such a bummer. So that's like your little bro in the industry.
Exactly,
so
man.
what was your reaction to that?
I mean, I called him, you know, called out and talked to his family and team immediately, because I was over in Europe at the time. So it was like one of those things where you feel like you're getting the news a little bit late too. You're not really sure. You start going with the time zones. You're like, is it already? Right. Is it already noon there? Is it
like what time is it?
Who's up?
Yeah, exactly.
So, but I was really, you know, I was glad that everybody made it out of the accident, because, you know, I know that area, and, you know, it could be very, you know, very tragic if you go over those hills up in the Mulholland Drive. So I was really blessed that he was all right, and you know, and spoken with him since, and he's, you know, recuperating and taking his time. And so it's a blessing. You know, I mean, again, you know, you never want anything to happen to somebody like that. He's just a good dude, and he works hard. He shows what hard work is all about, and being a person with good spirit, you know. And so, you know, I really was really happy that, you know, he and everybody else who was in the car seemed to be okay. So that's good.
When did you first meet Kevin? When did you realize he was a special kind of dude with his talent?
I was doing a tour back. I used to do a tour when I was with Budweiser, and I was putting on a lot of young comedians. And so he was one of the guys back then that we were like, all right, this dude was special, you know. And so we, you know, try to book him, put him on a couple of the tour dates. And then, you know, he was just funny. He was just funny, quick, you know, worked hard. And so it was, you know, I'm gonna go back to, you know, late 90s, maybe, somewhere in there. Yeah.
It's like little Kev at that point.
Yeah, really little Kev. I mean, he's actually grown.
Yeah,
since then.
basically grown.
I knew you was this big.
You were this big, and now you're
look
this
at
big. That's crazy. So another one of your guys was Bernie Mac, and we've talked about him before. I watched your speech at the funeral, which I'd never seen before, and you were dropping jokes, and I thought that was perfect. So what do you remember about that day, and why is comedy good in a moment like that to celebrate a guy like that?
You know, I think that, you know, when people live their life being, you know, the kind of people that they, you know, they do jokes, they kind of talk about life, the reality of life, and they find the humor in that. That's really the thing that they would appreciate most. I truly believe that Bernie Mac is, and he was one of those guys that was really uniquely, you know, special in my career, because it was a competition called the Miller Genuine Draft in Chicago, and I lived in St. Louis, and so I would drive to Chicago to be in this competition, and he was the guy who won, and you would have to kind of impress upon him and a few other judges just to get in the competition. And I remember seeing him one night at one of the preliminary things, and he came up to me, he was like, you all right, you all right, you know, do this, you know, cool. So then that was like the brief first encounter. And then the second one, I've come to do Def Jam. And, you know, I'm from St. Louis, and Def Comedy Jam is the big show.
Yeah.
And New York has got every comedian in the world shook to death. Like, I'm just like, so, because, you know, it's just that, you know, that
it's a whole different vibe here.
Is like, yo, like, you better be funny.
You better bring it, right?
And so, you know, and that was his, I ain't scared of you in this show, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But for me, he was just telling me, sitting down at lunch, he was like, just go out there and be yourself, man. Don't try to, he said, I definitely got shook, because he had did it before. He said, I got a little nervous the first time, and I was like kind of all tight. So he's like, don't be yourself. And so that was a really good message for us. So to tour with him, you know, to do the original Kings of Comedy, the movie and the tour, and just be out with him. He just was a soldier and a brother, and, you know, one of these kind of, you know, his personality was exactly what you saw on screen. It was take it and tell it like it is, like a TR is. Yeah.
When do you feel like you found your sound and your personality with your stuff? How long did it take?
You know, I mean, like you know, like most comedians, it takes a little bit of time, you know. But you know, I guess I think for me, coming from St. Louis and not necessarily having a you know, some kind of like, you know, at that point, you know, you would say people like Red Fox and from St. Louis, but they were long gone and, you know, big stars,
right.
and a little bit out of my generation. So, you know, it was an opportunity to kind of formulate a style that felt really local. And I think that is in that process of hosting like a lot of comedy nights, you know, it probably took, you know, 4 or 5 years or whatever, but yeah, but you know, but it was, St. Louis kind of, you know, worked in its own pocket, and so it just allowed me to be like, all right, cool, I'm funny to my people,
right.
And now I got a brand, and then if I can figure out how to get that brand to transfer, then it works.
Let's bring it back home to the neighborhood here.
Yeah,
Season 2's popping. What can people expect this season? You
know, it's great. I mean, you know, we're really excited about what happened with the, you know, the success of the show in season 1, and so we're coming back in. We want to run this for, of course, you know, as long as
you can get it, right? Keep milking it, yeah.
Bang, The Simpsons out of here.
Some of these shows, it's amazing the longevity of it, right?
All right. So we will, you know, we will kind of jump back into this relationship where the two couples are. We're understanding each other, but we're still getting to know each other. So it's a funner aspect, but we're not moving it too fast down the line. So we got some really fun episodes coming up. You know, one where, you know, we're going to be shooting where Dave, actually, my wife is a big fan of like REO Speedwagon, and I'm like not. So I let them two go out on this weird odd date.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we talk about these kind of things, like what happens when you get cool enough to be like, you know, that's good. That's more for you guys.
Do your thing.
Y'all do that, not me. And so, you know, so we just start waking up a lot of those kind of experiences where what it is to be a neighbor. You know, we got one where he's flying a drone and knocks my power out, and now I got to go stay at their house.
You're not feeling that.
It's like, yeah, so it's funny. As opposed to getting a room, I'm like, no, I'm staying at y'all house. So,
you knocked out the power.
Yeah,
I get your goods from me.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, deal with me and your groceries and everything. But I wasn't ready for all the kale chips.
No, not feeling that.
Yeah, like, oh man, need some Doritos.
The trade-offs, right?
Yeah.
Ced, it's been a pleasure, man.
Right,
thank you. Monday's the big day?
Yeah, Monday 23rd, man. Everybody tune in.
Check this guy out. It's going to be a good time. That's Ced. I'm DJ. We'll see you next time here on The Sit Down.